Hello and good evening and happy Friday to everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you had a great week. Hope you had a very productive week, and I hope you're going to have an even greater weekend as it comes up here. My name is Dena Bilbrew, and I am one of the contributors for the Women's Leadership Forum. And I am here this week, this today, and Colette has this Friday off. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be here every second Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. bringing you a topic that can help you in your career. I am a career and life coach, and I've been in this space for about 12 years working with individuals and working with teams and groups to help them get unstuck, help them to get from where they are to where they want to be in their life and their career. And so I am pleased to partner with Colette and the Women's Leadership Forum to help you to advance in your life and your career and bring you different topics that will be helpful. Now, this week's topic is You Got the Job, Now What? You got the job, now what? And I wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of times, and myself included, as I have gone throughout my career, I have focused so much on getting the job. I focus so much on being perfect for the job, presenting myself, getting my resume to be perfect, making sure I was interview ready, making sure I showed up with a nice smile and I was ready, and I got the job and I got what I wanted, of course. But then on, day one, within the upcoming days and weeks and months after I got the job, I don't really think I focused on that part. I don't really think I focused on after you get the job, then what? What comes after that? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about once you go through all of the things to get the job and to get the things that you wanted, what do you do after that? Particularly within your first year. Within your first year, after you get the job, what should you be focusing on? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to give you 4 different tips that should help you. Okay, so let's just jump right in with tip 1. Tip 1 is to get acclimated to your job duties. Now, I think this is self-explanatory, right? Because we know we got hired for a particular job and we know we have to perform. They hired us to do certain duties and we know we have to perform and we know we have to perform well. So getting acclimated to your job duties. And of course, you can do that a number of ways. You can do that by asking questions of different people on the job, just simply asking questions and just taking notes. You can also do this by job shadowing. You can job shadow other people who do the similar job that you do, or other people on your team. You may want to spend a little time, sitting with them and just kind of job shadowing and seeing how they do things. And then what I like to always do is just good old fashioned trial and error. I like to just kind of try things. I like on the job training where I just kind of come in and just try things and kind of see what works. That's really how I learn best. So whatever method is going to work for you, I don't think there's a right or wrong, but you definitely coming in, you want to get acclimated to your job duties and you want to make sure that you are learning and doing the things that they hired you to do and that you're doing those things well. And then Erica says, research. Definitely. That's another way that you can find out. Doing research, doing your individual research and making sure you're coming to the table with some good knowledge and good information. And, of course, asking those questions and making sure you're finding out what you need to find out to do your job well. Okay. Then number 2, the second thing that you should do once you have got the job is you want to learn the company culture. You want to make sure that you are learning the company culture. Now, we talked about in the first thing, number 1, that they hired you for your skills and abilities, and that's true. But also, I would be willing to bet that the hiring manager, they hired you because they knew the company culture and they thought you would be a good fit. They thought you would fit into their already established team. So you want to make sure that you learn what the company culture is. You want to learn how do they do things around here. You want to learn how things are done so you can very quickly make sure that you can fit in. And you may have an overall company culture, right? The overall company culture that they have. And then sometimes each individual team has its own culture. So you have 2 different dynamics to think about. And so when we think about company culture, we want to think about the fact that the company culture may be very fast paced. You may be in a very fast-paced company culture where, things are moving very quickly. You have a lot of deadlines that you have to meet. They're really focused on numbers and metrics and KPIs, key performance indicators. They may have a lot of different deliverables. And if that's the case, then you want to know about that, right? You want to make sure that you're really making sure you are fitting in and you're doing the things the way that they do things, right? Or you may have a company culture that's very laid back. It can kind of be a laid back environment where, they get their job done, they get things done and they deliver, but they may be more focused on relationships. They may be more focused on the relationships and getting to know people. So you want to kind of figure that out as well. So whenever you are meeting people, you may want to take the time to maybe kind of ask them a little bit about their background. You maybe want to ask them a little bit about, what they did over the weekend, or maybe ask them about their family and ask them about some of their hobbies and things like that, so that you can build those relationships, right? So if that's what the company kind of values, then you want to make sure that you're fitting in with that as well. And you may have a company culture where it's a little bit more individual based, right? People may be individual contributors. You kind of get your assignment and you kind of maybe go, to your workspace and you kind of think about it and you come up with your contribution is going to be, and then you bring that back to the larger team. Sometimes it's more individual based, or sometimes it can be more team based. It may be where it's an all hands on deck culture. Everybody does everything together. You research together, you brainstorm together, you come up with a plan together, you update your documents together. Everybody just does everything together on the Zoom call or in the conference room. You do a lot of things together, and that's fine, right? So it might either be individual based or it may be team based, either way. But whatever it is, whatever that company culture is, you want to make sure that you're learning that. You want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with that, and you want to make sure that you fit in and fit in quickly. Okay. And then, like I talked about before, it can be an overall company culture, or it can be an individual team-based culture, because the IT team may have their own culture and their own distinct way of doing things. Then you may have the sales team, and they may do things a little bit differently. And then you may also have the marketing team, and they may do things a little bit differently. And all of it is fine. And if you're interacting with people in those different areas, you want to make sure that you are learning that culture and that you are fitting in, so you can work with them and you can work with them harmoniously. Now, Erica has asked the question, how can you learn about the company culture before you accept the position? You can learn about it to a certain extent, certainly by doing your research, because a lot of times you can go on the website and they will tell you what their vision statement is. They'll tell you what their mission statement is. They may tell you what their company values are. You may be able to read some of the things that they're doing, and you can get a gist of what the company culture is, right? And then, of course, when you're in the interview, you can always ask those kinds of questions as well. So those are some of the things that you can find out beforehand. And then once you actually get the job and you're on the other side, then you can really see for yourself, and you can get more information to use, and then you can make sure that you are fitting in with the company culture. So that's the second thing that you want to do. The first thing we talked about, getting acclimated to the job duties. And the second thing is learning the company culture. Number 3, the third thing that you want to do once you get the job is you want to learn who your customers are, learn who you serve, and how to make them happy. You want to learn who you serve or who your customers are, and you want to learn how to make them happy. Now, every company is in business to make a profit. I think we all, pretty much know that every business, no matter what it is there to make a profit. And so you make a profit based on your customers, right? And you have to make them happy. And so you have some customers that are internal, and then you have some external customers. So let's start with the external customers. The external customers, of course, are there to affect your bottom line. They are there to buy your services. They are there to, to partake in whatever it is that you're offering them. And you want to understand who they are. You want to understand what their buying habits are. You want to understand what their needs are. You want to understand their individual needs and figure out how can you serve them and how can you keep them happy. And you want to do that ultimately so you can be profitable as a business. And then also because a happy customer is your best marketing. A happy customer is your best marketing. They're going to go and tell their family and their friends. They're going to tell everyone that they know about the experience that they had with you individually or with your company. And so once you keep your customers happy, then they'll go and tell everyone, and that's the best marketing, and that's the best way to retain them, is to keep them happy. So you definitely want to do that. And then with your internal customers, you want to figure out how you can serve them as well, right? Because maybe it's people on a different team that you have to interact with, and maybe you have to give them a particular report. Maybe you have to print out a report. And so you want to know, what do you want in the report? How do you want the report to look? How detailed? How frequently do you want the report? This is just an example, but whatever it is you have to give to your internal customers, you want to make sure you're figuring that out, and you want to make sure that you keep them happy. Figure out who are the people that you serve, what with the job that you do, who does it ultimately serve? Who do you affect? And then you want to figure out how to keep those people happy. That's the key to being, key to having longevity on your job, and the key to being successful on your job. Okay. And then lastly, number 4, the fourth thing that I recommend that you do once you have already gotten the job is that you figure out who the influencers are. Figure out who are the influencers. Now, when we think about an influencer, a lot of times we automatically go to someone in leadership, and could be or could be not. Someone that's an influencer isn't always a leader. You can be someone that is an influencer without necessarily having that, in your job title, without having leader or manager in your job title. An influencer is just simply someone who influences or can kind of motivate or kind of have a say in how things are done, right? And the reason why I'm saying is you want to figure out who they are is because they may be able to help you. This influencer may be someone who can help you, because maybe at some particular point, once you've been working there for a while, you may have a new idea. You may have a new idea, or you may have a new initiative that you want to implement. And maybe you're a little bit unsure of how to implement it. You're a little bit unsure of how to, go about it. You're just a little bit unsure of how it's going to be received by everybody else. But if you have this influencer, someone who that whenever they talk, people listen. Whenever they're in the room, people kind of sit up a little bit straighter. Whenever they, say something, people much more quickly kind of get on board, right? You want to have that person as someone that you're in a good relationship with, so that when you have your new idea or you have your new initiative, you can reach out to that person. And you can say, I've been thinking about doing this particular idea, but I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go over with the rest of the team. Can you kind of help me think through that? Can you give me some ideas of how I can bring this up and how I can get this on the agenda for the meeting next month? And that person can help you with that. They can help you think through that. And they may help you to overcome some obstacles or some roadblocks, some things that you maybe wouldn't have thought about. Maybe they can kind of help you with that. So that's why it's a good idea to figure out who these people are, right? These influencers. And then, once you are trying to implement this idea and you're going through with things, and say you do run into some roadblocks, say you keep reaching out to a particular person and the person is just not being cooperative. They're just maybe not being responsive. They're not responding to your emails, or maybe they're just kind of being negative. You can then go back to this influencer and say, I've been trying to reach out to John and I'm just not getting a response from him. I'm sure he's probably busy, but if there's any way that maybe you can talk with him, or maybe set up a meeting with all 3 of us just to kind of see what's going on. And because the person is an influencer, John will probably listen to this person. John may kind of get in line, so to speak, because they value this person. They know this person is a mover and shaker. This is a person that they know they really need to listen to, and they really need to make sure that they are cooperating. So you want to have, an influencer for that particular reason. And then also you want to have an influencer and be in a good position with them, because when the time comes that maybe you want to get promoted, maybe you've been working for the company for a while and now you see a position that you want to apply for, or you want to be promoted. You want someone who is going to be able to speak favorably about you, right? You want someone who's going to be able to say good things about you to the hiring committee or to the interviewing committee. You want to have someone that's going to say good things about you whenever you're not in the room. So that's the purpose of having an influencer and getting to know who they are and making sure you're in their good graces, right? And then, of course, you can also just use them as a mentor. You may want to have this person because, again, they're a mover and shaker. They kind of know some of the, different things that go on. They talk to a lot of different people. This may be a great person to serve as a mentor for you, a great person to kind of help you kind of move up the ladder, or just kind of help you just in general when it comes to your career and just, getting more information about your industry. Okay, so we're talking about once you get the job, and what do you need to do once you have gotten the job? Because like I said before, we focus so much on getting the job, but once we actually are on the other side and we're actually working there, sometimes I don't know that we necessarily give that enough thought. So I've just given you 4 tips. Making sure you're getting acclimated to your job duties. The second one is learning the company culture. The third one is figuring out who you serve and how to keep them happy. And then the last one is to figure out who the influencers are and make sure that you have a good relationship with them, because it's going to come in handy at some particular point. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in this week to the Women's Leadership Forum. Once again, my name is Dena Bilbrew, and I am a career and life coach. And it's my pleasure to be with you this evening. I will be here the second Friday of every month at 6:00 p.m. coming to you with another topic that can help you advance in your career. So thank you so much to everyone, and hope you have a great evening and a great weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.